Thus, it also happened that in the 18th century, a society spread certain views and ideas which were taking root in people's minds and became effective in achieving the aims of such societies. The ideas entered into the social sphere and determined people's attitudes to others. People do not know the sources of many things that live in their emotions, inner responses, and will impulses. Those who understand the processes of evolution do know, however, how impulses and emotions are produced. This was the case with a book published by such a society in the 18th century. Perhaps not the book itself, but the ideas on which it was based. The book shows the way in which Ahriman is involved in different animals. The Ahrimanic spirit was, of course, called the devil then, and it was shown how the devil principle comes to expression in different ways in individual animal species. The age of enlightenment was at its height in the 18th century, and of course, enlightenment still flourishes today. Really clever people, many of them to be found as members of the press, managed to turn it into a joke and say, once again, quote, once again, some, I'm putting a dot, dot, dot here, has written the book to say that animals are devils, close quote. Ah, but to spread ideas like these in such a way in the 18th century that they would take root in the minds of many people, and in doing so take account of the true laws of human evolution, that really had an effect. For it was important that the idea that animals were in many minds by the time Darwinism came along. And the idea would then arise in many 19th century minds that people had gradually evolved from animals. At the same time, large numbers of other people had the idea that animals were devils. A strange accord was thus produced. As this really happened, it was perfectly real. People write histories about all kinds of things, but the forces which are really at work are not to be found in them. We need to consider the following. Animals can only thrive if they have air, not in the vacuum to be found under the receiver of an air pump. In the same way, ideas and ideals can only thrive if human beings enter into the real atmosphere of spiritual life. This means, however, that spiritual life must be encountered as a reality. Today, people like generalities better than most other things, and they easily fail to notice that since 1879, Ahrimanic powers have been forced to descend from the spiritual world into the human realm.